This is video 6 of the Cadet Training Plan Template Instructional series. In this video, we will be demonstrating how to complete the Activity Details wizard for a weekend training exercise. As you can see here on the main menu in the status messages, we have a number of status messages indicating that the Activity Detail wizard has not been completed. We simply need to click on the Activities button and then click on the Supported Training Days and Weekends tab. And we have all of our scheduled supported training days here. We're going to be completing the Activity Details wizard for our weekend exercise falling leaf. The Activity Details wizard gathers key information about your training activity and your support requirements. Click on the Activity Details button for the appropriate activity and the wizard will open up. In the wizard, the mandatory fields are all marked with a double asterisk, and you need to go through and complete those first, starting with the activity location. If you imported information from your prior training gear, you will have in this drop-down box locations that were used in that prior training gear. In this case, I have one that happens to be the location that I want to go to, and I just select it. You enter the distance one way to that location. The exercise start times are defaulted, and of course the activity dates are already entered. Activity contact needs to be the officer who will be responsible for this activity, so you should select accordingly. And that's from the Corps Squadron staff list, and their information will pull in. And then you enter the numbers of cadets who will be attending the activity, as well as staff. If you have a first aider, you just select who they are. And then the final mandatory field is for detailed description of the activity and the cadet participation in it. Okay, and you just put in a basic description depending on what you're doing. Once you have those mandatory fields completed, then you can take a look now at your support requirements and particular details for your exercise, and that's this area right here. We're going to start with a specialty qualified instructor if that applies to your activity. The defaults for these buttons right here are yes. If it doesn't apply, simply click no, and that disappears. But just to demonstrate here, if we say yes and then we go into instructor details, pick the instructor who will be having the specialist qualification, and here, and then just pick whatever the qualification might be. For my weekend exercise here, it's not really something that I require, but just to show you how the form works. I'm just going to delete that by clicking no, but you notice once you select it, it turns green here once you've completed that form. Going into rations next, definitely an element that I need to have support for my weekend exercise. I click on the ration details button, and if you notice, for a typical weekend exercise, it comes up already pre-filled in with the default settings for IMPs. So all activities will come up with the IMP default for your meal. If you need to change that, you just simply click on the drop down and make the appropriate selection. Otherwise, for a weekend exercise, all I need to do is really come in here and click back out, and that is done. Accommodations or other facilities is another key support element for your weekend exercise, and you simply click on the accommodation details button, and first thing that you do is you put in your location, and I will type in Camp Faraway. Choose the type of facility that it is, in this case league owned, and type in any details that you would need to put in. and your check-in time, the time that you need to be able to arrive for, and your checkout time. Funding will be provided by, in this case, a mandatory exercise would be D&D, and to be booked by, is it something that you will book as the Core Squadron or the RCSU? I'll leave that up to the RCSU for this booking. On this line here, any CFB military facilities that you would require if we were staying at a base, all right here. And that completes your accommodations requirements. The last thing is transportation requirements. You click the transport details button. First thing is to select your vehicle type. In this case will be a bus. Funding to be provided for, D&D full. They're going to sponsor the cost of the bus and any fuel and so on with it. Don't need any driver information for that. Departure time is going to be 18:30. And you notice the pickup location has defaulted to my common bus departure location that I entered under Core Squadron information on the tab. For that, as well, my activity location flows into here, and I simply need to put in my pickup time from the activity location, which my departure time was going to be 1300. And for my return location, normally you're going right back to where you were picked up from, so you just click in here, or you can overtype in here, whatever you need to do, and any comments as appropriate. And the final thing here is the suggested supplier. So you would just enter your local supplier that you would like them to consider. A phone number is really great to have. And finally, if you're going to be transporting any screen volunteers or league members, which could easily be the case, you would need to put the checkbox in here. So that's part of the approval. If you're going to have any other types of support vehicles, here's the list of what's possible. So if you're needing something else, you simply, again, make your selections. And the main difference here is you're going to have to provide some driver information. Usually it's from your paid staff list. And that completes your transportation details. The next support item is your D&D equipment requirements. You click on the equipment details button and you get the equipment order form. Now, depending on your activity type, this list is customized to your activity. And so in this case, for a mandatory activity, on the left-hand side here, we see the standardized equipment list for this activity type. And I simply look at the items and I determine if I want to order them or not. If it's an item that I want to order, I simply click here in the order checkbox. And based on the number of people that I have for my activity, it will calculate the quantity. If I need a number less than what's here, I can certainly select a lower number. And so depending on what you're doing, that may be a requirement. Otherwise, you just continue on down the list, selecting what you want. If I'm wanting sized equipment, I will click in here. It'll give me my total quantity. But if I say, okay, of the total people that I have coming, I'll need, say, 10 smalls. And then I click my next size and it will calculate the remaining number. If I say, okay, of that, I'll need this amount. And that allows me then to continue on up, and I fill out the quantities that I need. I would just continue on down until I completed all the selections that I need. One thing to note with regard to tents, for example, is that it will calculate based on a ratio, not only per number of cadets, but it will consider your gender split as well when calculating the number of tents that you will need here. Note right up here, these numbers really are an estimation only, and the training support staff will be in contact with your core squadron 45 days in advance of your activity to confirm the details of your support request. If there's any equipment not found in the standardized equipment list that you need, you can come to the right-hand side for additional equipment requests. Basically, everything else that the RCSU stores is generally right here. If there's something that you would like on this list, you just would select it, indicate that you want to order it, and adjust the quantity that you require. If there's still something that you haven't found on this list, you can simply over-type what it is that you need. Not that you would normally order a television, but just as an example, you can put in absolutely anything else that you require. And that basically gives you the overview of the equipment order form. Of course, you still have to go in and select your shipping and delivery information. You indicate your option whether you want to pick it up, have it delivered, or shipped to you. So delivery would be at your activity location, shipping would be to you. Indicate who is going to be the point of contact for the shipping. So if there's any questions, it can be coordinated through that person. And in here we had pre-entered our shipping address on file, so we can just simply default that into the address that we wanted to use, or we could have entered a separate address and any special instructions as required, and that completes the shipping information. Simply close out of there and close out of our equipment list, that completes most of the aspects of this form. One final thing to note on this form is this RCSU use area only. This is the area that the RCSU will use in reviewing and approving your activity. And one thing that you can expect when you get your training plan approval back is in here they will indicate any required documents that they need to complete the approval for your activity and any special comments. When they enter any required documents here, they will let you know the date by which they need to receive it. And these due dates, these reminders for these due dates will flow to the dashboard manager approximately 2 weeks in advance of the due date to let you know, as well as this information will be available on reports in the reports menu. So just to recap this screen, we've got all the mandatory fields completed. We have green boxes for all of our support requirements. Finally, we've got these two buttons right here, the activity scheduler, which we'll be demonstrating in a future video. As well, we've got the activity report button, which will give you all the details in a report in terms of the information pertaining to your activity. We'll close out of that form, and as you can see back here in the supported training day scheduler, to show that the activity details has been completed for this activity, the name field turns green. In our next video, we will be demonstrating and taking a look at the PO scheduler.